most common questions that I receive is asking about those financial aid notifications and how to understand what it is and what it means. And that's what we're going to cover today. So in order to first receive a financial aid notification, you first have to complete the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. So it's completely free to complete, and you're going to list on the FAFSA the schools that you want to receive your information. So if you don't list a school, they won't be able to receive your information and thus won't be able to send you a financial aid notification. So when you get to the portion on the FAFSA that's asking for the schools that you're interested in applying for, you can list up to 10 schools. So think about it. I always suggest list more than one. Make sure you have those backup schools. Make sure you have a few schools. That way you can compare the financial aid notices. Maybe one school is going to offer you a lot more money, but you wouldn't know that unless you applied, unless you listed them on your FAFSA. So after you complete the FAFSA application, that information is going to be sent to the schools that you listed. They're going to receive that information, they're going to process it, and they're going to figure out how much financial aid you would be eligible to receive if you attended that university. Now, once they do that, they're going to start to notify you, and this can happen at different times. And these notices are either going to be maybe through the mail, or maybe they're going to be emailed to you directly, the student. And it's going to explain a lot of different things, right? So first, you're going to look at that notice, and you're going to see what financial aid you're eligible for. Maybe you're eligible for some grants and scholarships, the free money, right? The money that doesn't have to be paid back. Maybe you're eligible for loans, money that does have to be paid back. Do you understand, if you accept this loan, what it's going to look like to pay it back in the future? What are the interest rates on the loan? What are the terms and agreements for these loans? And if a school requires you to either accept, reduce, or decline the loan, do you know how to do that? Because that information is on that financial aid notification. So unless you read carefully, you might miss some important next steps. Now here is an example of a financial aid notification. And you'll see it's laid out really easy to understand. Right at the top, it shows you your billed costs, the costs for things like tuition and fees, room and board. And then it goes into the financial aid. And it even breaks it out by the free money, by the grants and the scholarships, showing you the total that you'd be able to receive. It also shows you the loans that are being offered to you, the student. Again, do you understand? Are there any academic requirements that you have to meet to make sure you maintain this aid year after year? If, like Dream University, they're offering you a scholarship, what requirements do you have to meet? Is it a one-time scholarship or is it renewable? These are very important things to make sure you really understand before you commit to a specific school. Now again, looking at this, the student here is also offered a work study amount. So you'll see a work study award for this amount. When it comes to work study, this is not something that you would want to include in your cost, right? When you look at cost minus aid, you don't want to include the work study. You want to ask the financial aid office, how are you paid for this? Because typically with work study, it's something you have to apply for. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get it. And then once you have work study, usually you're going to receive a paycheck every 2 weeks or every month for the hours you work. So it's not necessarily something that's going to be applied to your bill, but it's extra money you could earn if you apply for a position and receive one. And so that's why it is counted as financial aid. Some students use those funds to help pay for a bill, maybe a future term. Others, maybe you go buy some pizza or coffee every now and then, right? So once you have this notice and you start looking at that cost at the top, minus your aid, do you need to borrow those loans? Do you need to borrow the full amount? You get to decide. Do you want to accept it? Do you want to reduce it or decline it? And then once you see the leftover remaining cost, what is your plan to cover that, right? This is the time to start comparing. Make sure you understand these notices. Now, one great tool that I want to talk about is on our site at FIA.org. You can take a look at this cost comparison. So at the top, you'll notice that there is a sample cost. We already have it, so you can see and understand what information needs to go where. So you could take all of your notices and list them out on this worksheet. List out the cost of attendance. List out that gift aid, the free money. Once you have the cost minus aid, you'll be able to see what will you be paying, what do you owe. And then you can subtract out any loans that are offered to you. You'll see work study has that asterisk because you may or may not want to include that depending on how your school pays out federal work study. And that difference will show you what you still need. So now that you understand those financial aid notifications, you can start to understand and make the best decision for yourself. Thank you.